Hi once again, Noreen. I'm
Hello.
very happy to see you, and I'm happy to congratulate you on having passed the exam. Perhaps you can introduce yourself for starters and give us some idea about when you took the exam, how long you had been preparing for it, something like general background, please.
Yes, of course. As you mentioned, my name is Noreen. I sat the exam in April 2023. So it was April to May 2023. Got my results in August 2023. And that's when I realized that I passed the exam. How long it took me to revise? My journey was quite interesting because I actually got married in January. And then I
Wow,
went
really? So that was an intense
yeah.
period for you.
So I got married in January, went on honeymoon in February. So once I came back, I had February to April to revise. The year before, I did revise for the exam. So I started the reading, like just preparing myself. So I sat the exam in April. So I literally had, let's just say, 2 months worth of intense revision. And then I sat the exam. I wouldn't recommend it personally because it was very, very, very intense. But I mean, I was able to pass.
Right, but if it weren't an accumulation, of all these life circumstances, what would be the ideal preparation time for you?
I would say the ideal preparation times between 5 to 8 months. I'm from an LPC background, so I understand some people sat the SQE1, which is different. I did the LPC in 2017, 18. So I had to kind of revisit all my legal knowledge, do my reading again and all of that. So I would say a good 5 to 8 months, you should be fine.
All right, yeah, and that's a very important consideration that you would advise 5, 7 months for people with an LPC background,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So you were not learning from scratch because
And
you had substantial knowledge, right? A foundation of knowledge already.
yeah.
But in a best case scenario, it would have taken you from 5 to 7 months in order to build up
Mm-hmm.
and to get yourself ready for the SQE2, right?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
was it very similar? Was the SQE2 very similar to the LPC, to all your experience with exams in the LPC?
I would say no, to be honest. The expectation is very, very different. So the standard is like to a day one qualified solicitor, whereas an LPC is like a trainee. In terms of the exam itself, it's different. I got a different feel when I sat the SQE exam than I did from when I did the LPC. It was again completely different. The intensity of how much I had to revise as well, I guess my circumstances made me have to revise extra hard. But because I knew that the exam was how it was intense. We had like 45 minutes or so to first half an hour in fact to like do legal writing, things like that. It's different from the LPC, whereas you're given a question and I think you have like 3 hours to draft the question, to write a question. For me, I personally thought it was quite different.
Okay, and was there any particular assessment in the SQE2 that you think was vastly different from what you expected or from what your LPC experience told you?
I would say with having practiced, no, I kind of expected what I saw. Yeah, I did a lot of practice, I would say. So I was prepared, but I don't feel like it prepared me enough because yes, there were times that I said, "Oh wow, this is different. This is difficult." But you kind of get a feel of the exam already before. With if you do mocks, if you practice, you kind of know what to expect.
All right, so the mocks are essential, you think, right? Or can
100%.
you just prepare from books? Do you think that the SQE2 is doable based on books only?
No, no, no. You have to do mocks. I think it's very, very important to do mocks. Very important to do mocks. You can't go to the exam and sit the exam without doing mocks, I would say, because mocks prepare you, helps you do the exam under time pressure as well, because it is very,
Mm-hmm.
very intense. Especially, for example, advocacy. I remember my criminal advocacy paper, when I was preparing for it, I had like 15 pages to look over. And I remember doing the mock, which had a number of pages. So I was so used to looking at a lot of pages before going into the exam, so it didn't really throw me off that I had 15 pages that I had to kind of flip through. I think mocks prepare you for the exam, definitely, and you get feedback as well. So based on my feedback as well, I was able to improve and I was able to like showcase my ability in the exam as well. So mocks are very important.
And how are these mocks comparable to the mocks in the LPC system? Like advocacies, are they very similar? Are they time framed in the same way? Is there the level of difficulty the same?
I did the LPC quite a while ago, but from what I remember, no, it's quite different. I had to prepare more for the SQE. I would say I definitely had to prepare more for the SQE. How I practice and how I target the exam as if it was a real, I'm a day one solicitor, I'm going to court, and I'm representing my client. That's how I tackled it. So whereas with the LPC, I don't think I had the same mindset. I passed it, but I don't think I had the same mindset with, when I was doing the exam for the SQE. It's very practical, very, very practical. You have to put on your lawyer hat.
You did not only have this theoretical grounding due to your LPC, right? But also practical standing, because you said you did your LPC in 2017, 2018, and between now and then, between the SQE2 and graduation, you have been working. So do you think that your practical experience in the field contributed to your success in the SQE2? How did this component play in your preparation?
I would say professionalism. I couldn't say that, I've gone to court and represented my client during the time of me working, but even the ability to draft an email to a professional standard, I would say in that sense, yes, it helped. The area of law that I've practiced in is completely different from the areas that we've had during the exam, completely different. So I've worked in like data protection, for example, but it's just simple things like researching. So I do researching, or I did researching when I was a paralegal. So that helped in the exam, knowing how to research, knowing how to just draft an email, knowing how to communicate with clients. So things like that definitely helped.
Okay, so listening to you, I just come to understand that a candidate with a totally different background, without an LPC, without practical experience, will have to study very hard for the SQE2 in order to accumulate this knowledge and this experience, right?
It's an exam, so you have to study very hard. It's a hard exam, and that's just reality. It is very, very hard in terms of the expectation that's required. Not to say it's not doable, but you have to tackle it like it's a hard exam. So it means you have to revise both legal knowledge and practicing. So it's not something that is just because you've worked in a legal field, you automatically will pass the exam. You just have to revise, to test standard as well.
Even though some candidates sometimes do have this misconception that, it's just a matter of luck. And if you prepare more or less, then chances are that you will pass it.
So if you don't revise and you don't take it seriously, somebody else is, and that can cause you to fail, I would say. So when I was revising, I literally took it very, very seriously, even though, yes, I've been working as a paralegal and I did the LPC, I still revised and I took my mocks very seriously. For me, I personally would say take it seriously. I wouldn't say gamble it and because you're already in the profession.
Does that mean that in the exam, you felt totally prepared, confident, or were there any perhaps unexpected elements, any emotional moments? I don't know.
I don't think you can ever be ready. I remember my last exam, I called my husband and I was just like, I don't think I can do it. When I was there, I was like, I don't think I can do it. Let me just rearrange it. The exam, I can do it another time. You can never be prepared because it is a difficult exam. And when you sit there, it's just like, oh, really? Like, it's hard. And I spoke to other people that sat the exam before me and they said exactly the same thing. And sometimes you feel like you haven't done well, but you have done well. I came from one exam, I think it was like civil advocacy, and I practice advocacy. I really practice advocacy. I went into the exam and I said, what is this? I just said, what's going on? And I came home and I was really upset. But what I didn't do was let it affect the next day because I said, it's a new day. Let me focus on tomorrow. Got new exams coming up. I think it was criminal advocacy and wills or something like that, client interviewing. And I loved it. The next day, I absolutely loved that day. So I didn't let it affect me. And I would say, don't let it affect you if you have one bad day. If it's one bad day, fair enough. Just keep going. But you will have days where it's like, oh gosh, that exam was hard. And as I said, it's an exam, so it's expected.
Okay, right. There's one more issue that I think you could comment on. I've been reading and there has been a lot of discussion about the gap in outcomes, in the exam outcomes for candidates with different ethnic backgrounds. And there's a lot of discussion on that it's alarming, that there's an alarming pattern. And perhaps it is an obstacle to building up this diversity in the profession. Did you notice anything like that, or is there anything that you can offer? Any comment on this?
I would just say have a positive mindset. It's not that you can't pass and it's not that you won't pass, but if it means that just put in extra effort, then do so. Don't let it defeat you. Don't let it discourage you. Just put in extra effort and give it your all. That's all you can do. I read about it before I sat the exam and I didn't really let it bother me as much. I just revised. I took my time, I revised, I understood legal principles, I practiced, and I sat the exam and I managed to pass. So
Excellent. Yeah, so it's a matter of courage, not being scared away at the very start, right? Then a matter of attitude and hard work. So it has been quite a challenge for not just for you, but for everyone. I don't know a single person, a single candidate taking this exam saying it wasn't a challenge. Why did you decide to take it up? Why did you want to take this challenge to face this risk?
I think because I had the legal experience already, I just thought, you know what, let me sit the exam. And if I pass it, then it means I get to qualify. Yeah, I just thought for me, I'm already in the legal profession. I've had good experience as well. So I just thought I might as well sit the SQE2 exam. And if I pass, then it means I get to qualify this route.
Right. So has there been any impact on your career so far?
So funnily enough, I actually took a career break. I traveled for a while. I'm back in the UK now, but I traveled for a while. And when I did, I got my results when I was out of the country. So it just meant that even though I'm employed by like a legal service provider, I took a break where I wasn't in any engagement.
Did you do any work online while traveling?
I did a little bit of work, but then after when I got my results, I didn't. In terms of working as a lawyer now, my contract has upgraded to a lawyer. Now that I'm back, is now that I'm looking for a job as a lawyer with my legal service provider.
Right. So what sphere do you specialize in? Is it data protection?
Yes, I specialize in data protection, so that's what I've been doing for a number of years now.
Yeah, you can advertise yourself. You can perhaps say which field or what expectations you have for your future career. Maybe someone will watch this video and find you a suitable candidate to fill some position.
So I specialize in data protection. I've been working as I would say, a data protection paralegal for a good 3-4 years. I've had experience doing all things data protection, transfer impact assessments, dealing with complaints, having to write emails to the ICO, data subject access requests as well, dealing with that. So yeah, I've had a lot of experience in data protection.
I hope that after you are back to the UK, so now you are back, and after you're back to the career, that there will be really remarkable professional opportunities for you, and your experience of preparing for the exam and passing and taking the exam and passing it will pay off.
Yes.
I really wish you success in everything that you do. And I hope to hear from you. And I hope that you will get back in touch with OSCEsmart and then let us know how your career is developing, Noreen.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Is there any advice that you could offer as just a final word to people watching this? How to prepare? Perhaps what is the secret, or what is the most crucial element in the preparation, or perhaps something that you haven't said before?
I would say, in terms of the legal knowledge, make sure you understand the law. Make sure you understand the principles. If you were to see a question, you'll be able to identify what's happening in the exam. Make sure, in terms of the skills, that you practice. Don't leave things until last minute. Go through each area. So legal drafting, make sure you've had a look at documents, legal documents, and before the exam, make sure that the exam's not the first time you're seeing a document to draft, because it's not really a good idea. I'll say business as well. Don't leave business last. I know that's the last exam for the final day, and a lot of us, we left it quite last. But I would say make sure you're revising business alongside your other topics. So when you go into the exam, it's not that it's a last minute revision. You've covered it. Enjoy the exam. Some aspects of it, you can enjoy it. Advocacy, for example, client interviewing, just those areas you can smash. Honestly, you can get the best grades. So enjoy some aspects of the exam, but it is difficult. So target it like it's a difficult exam and revise hard.
Thank you, Noreen. And to our viewers, yes, I totally agree and side up with Noreen. Enjoy the exam, and I wish everyone good luck in the exam. And thank you, Noreen, for joining us, and everyone else for watching us.